Hi, and welcome to the Updog Yoga Mama Studio. I'm Jess, and I'm happy to have you here for your very first Mama Baby yoga class. Of course, baby is optional. You're welcome to have baby asleep. You're welcome to have baby with you on the mat. Whatever really works for you and your home and your day environment. So we'll go ahead and get started. We'll get right into it. So we're going to start in a reclined butterfly. Before we do get fully into the flow though, I encourage you to get some props. Some blocks are really handy. If you don't have blocks in your house, grab 2 solid books and that will help you. And a bolster is really great. If you don't have a bolster, a couch cushion or a nice firm pillow will also do. So without further ado, let's get going. We'll begin in reclined butterfly with your bolster or your couch cushion. We'll set our bolster up at the back of your yoga mat. And you're gonna bring the bottoms of your feet to touch, have knees wide, pull the bolster in so it's touching your tailbone, but you're not sitting on it. And then just recline on back over that bolster. And we're going to relax the arms down your sides to begin. Go ahead and shut the eyes down or let the eyes be heavy. And let's just simply notice our breath. Starting to just be aware of how the breath sounds. How the breath feels as it enters and leaves the body. And how the body is expanding on the inhales, how the body is relaxing on the exhales. And then to bring even more awareness to our breath, let's place the right hand onto your chest and the left hand onto your bellies. Now, one thing that might happen is your elbows are a bit lifted up off of the floor. If that brings any tension into this pose for you, you can place blocks underneath either elbow or just slide the elbows down so they don't have to be perfectly, the hand doesn't have to be perfectly onto the belly or the chest. So with the left hand on your belly, the right hand on your chest, just start to feel that breath rolling up the body on the inhale. And feel the breath receding back into the belly on the exhale. Notice this natural wave of breath. The wave rolling up. The wave rolling down. Relax the shoulders a little bit. Relax the forehead. And continue to feel into this wave of breath, allowing the breath to begin and end in the belly. And now notice, with every inhale, you'll feel the belly expand, you'll feel the ribs expand, and then you'll feel the chest puff out, and you'll even feel that breath pull further up into the neck, into the head, and then feel the breath slowly leave the head, the neck, the shoulders. The chest relaxes down, the breath rolls back down into the belly as the belly relaxes back in. So first and foremost, we come to our mat to connect into our breath, and then from there we connect into our body. So our breath is our starting point. So today on our mat for our first practice together, allow yourself to be really in tune with the breath, to really focus on that breath and find this wave up and down throughout your entire practice. Allow this to be your intention today, following that wave of breath, rolling in and rolling down. I'll give you a few more minutes here to feel into that wave of breath, that natural wave. that natural nourishing wave of inhalations and exhalations. And after one more round of breath, let's roll onto your right side. If that works for you, if you need to roll off to your left, that's fine. But we'll roll off to either side, curling up into that fetal position for just a moment, letting some space come back into this lower back. And then you'll push yourself up. And we'll come into a hero seated position. So you can sit onto your bolster or your block. I'm gonna sit onto my block for this hero position. So hero, you are sitting in between the heels of your feet. So sitting down onto the mat in between the heels of your feet, but you're gonna add the bolster or the block into this, and that'll make it a little bit more comfortable. So slide that block or that bolster underneath your seat bones, and then sit up tall. And I want you to elongate that lower back down. So we have that natural curve in our lower back, but we're gonna try and take away that curve just a little bit by lengthening that lower back down. So we'll slightly scoop that pelvis up just a little bit, nothing drastic here. And then just sit up tall, relax the shoulders down, lengthen up towards your ceiling through the top of your head. That's it. Take 2 rounds of big breath here. One more. On the inhale now, let's stretch the arms up overhead, look up. On the exhale, bring hands down through heart space, open mouth, breathe it away. Inhale, stretch the arms up. Exhale, hands down through heart space. Once more, arms up. Hands to heart. Roll shoulders back, open up your chest. Lengthen that lower back down towards the mat. Take a round of breath here in stillness. Relax hands now onto your knees. We're gonna do some cat and cows from our seated hero position. So the cat and cow meaning we're gonna arch out the back on a cat back, and then we're gonna arch up the chest on the cow. So we're gonna move with the breath, just focusing on the chest and the upper back for these first 2 rounds. So take a breath in, take a breath out. On the inhale, roll the shoulders back, open up the chest, slightly lift the chin up. You've got an arch in your lower back now. On the exhale, tuck the chin down toward your chest, separate the shoulder blades as you arch out through the upper back. One more round like this. Inhale, open up space in the chest as you lift the chin up. Exhale, contract the core slightly as you push tension out through the upper back. And then come through a neutral spine. So we're gonna do that for 3 more rounds, but now we're gonna add our pelvic floor to the cat back. So you might have practiced pelvic floor lifts throughout your pregnancy. So we're gonna carry that activation into our postnatal practice as we weave the body back together. So when you lift the pelvic floor, we're gonna do that on an exhale. And what you wanna feel is that line between the vagina hole and the bum hole. You wanna feel that line lifting up towards the uterus, towards the belly button. And then when you come into your cow, when you take your breath in, fully relax that pelvic floor. So soften the pelvic floor and soften the belly. So let's do that for 3 times together. Starting with your cow, relax the pelvic floor, relax the core as you open up the chest, look up. Exhale, contract the pelvic floor, lifting that pelvic floor up as you breathe out and arch out. Inhale, relax, roll up. Exhale, contract and arch out. Once more. Come back through neutral spine. So we're gonna stay with those pelvic floor lifts throughout the first half of our practice when we're doing our powerful poses. So you want your support and your strength to build from there, from that mula bandha is what we call that in yoga, your pelvic floor, your mula bandha, same thing. So we're gonna come into some twists now. We're gonna inhale, stretch the arms up. Exhale, we're gonna twist to the right. Bring the left hand onto your right knee. The right hand comes behind you. Open up the chest by lengthening up through the top of your head. Look over that right shoulder. Taking a couple rounds of breath here. Not worrying about lifting pelvic floors or anything right now. We're more just getting a bit of space in the chest here and getting a nice open twist. Inhale, reach those arms up. Exhale, twist to the left. Right hand comes onto the left knee, left hand comes behind you. Again, lengthen up and open up space into the chest. If it works for you, you can look over that back shoulder. One more round of breath. And then we'll come back through center, reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, hands down through heart space. Bring the hands out in front of you, and we'll come into a tabletop position. So in your tabletop, you've got shoulders over wrist and hips over knees. So from here, we're gonna start doing a little bit more core activation. We're gonna start in pointer pose now. So we're gonna extend the left leg out behind you, flexing that left foot, lift up through the left heel. Now I want you to scoop this pelvis up to your lower rib so you've got a slightly activated core, and then lengthen out through the back of your neck. So we're in a good neutral position now, a good neutral spine. Now you can stay here, or if you're a little bit further along than 6 or 8 weeks, you can extend that right arm out, and that's up to your strength. So see how you feel here. And now we're gonna add those cat backs into this position. So we're gonna inhale, lengthen out through the fingers, through the heels, and then exhale, separate the shoulder blades as you scoop that belly up and lift the pelvic floor up. Inhale, lengthen out through finger and heel. Exhale, scoop belly up, lift pelvic floor up. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, contract. We've got 2 more. Breathe in, breathe out. Last round, inhale. Cat back on the exhale. Come back through your neutral spine, then place the right hand down and the left knee down. Rock those hips from side to side. And let's come on to the other side. So we'll begin by lengthening that right leg out behind you. Lift up through the right heel. The right foot is flexed. Now let's go ahead and activate our bellies a little bit here. So scoop the pelvis up to the lower ribs. Lengthen out through the back of your neck. Now you can stay here and work on your cat backs in this position, or you can add that left arm to this, coming into the full pointer pose. We're gonna take a breath in, once more extend through fingers, extend back through heels, and then exhale, scoop belly up, press the floor away with that right hand. Inhale, come back through neutral spine. Exhale, cat back, 3 more. Breathe in, breathe out. For 2, for 1. Inhale. Exhale, place the left hand down, the right knee down, rock it out from side to side. From here, let's come into a child's pose. Widen the knees until they're as wide as your mat. Bring the hips to rest down onto your heels. Bring the arms to stretch out in front of you, and the forehead down onto the mat. Come back to that breath. Back to that foundation of your practice, that foundation of a connection into yourself. Finding that connection by listening into the breath, by feeling into the breath, and then see where that journey takes you. You don't have to achieve anything today. You don't have to worry about what the practice is looking like, what it should feel like. I just want you to breathe. Breathing in, breathing out. One more round of breath. Come back through your tabletop. Maybe making a little stretch before you get there. So again, we're starting with shoulders over wrists and hips over knees. I want you to have really wide jazz hands here. So fingers are really wide. Pointer fingers pointing forward. So this protects our wrists. We're setting up for down dog here. So we're going to tuck the toes and then lift those hips up high, pushing the chest back towards the thighs, and then walk the dog out. Walking it from the right to the left leg, Bending one knee at a time, just kind of feeling into the body now. Noticing what the hips feel like, what the shoulders feel like. So this is your first class. So we're starting it out a little bit slow. We're checking in with ourselves, seeing how we're feeling in this new motherhood journey. Maybe this is your first child, maybe you're on child number 4. Either way, this is your first class with me, your first journey into your postnatal yoga experience with Up Dog Yoga Mama. So let's take the time to assess how the body is feeling, where the breath needs to nourish yourself. This is the first time you're lifted up, so feel into that. And our down dog is a great active shoulder release here, and it brings energy in as well. So we keep our hands shoulder width, we keep our feet hip width, and then I want you to roll those inner thighs up and back. Relax the head, relax the neck. Look either between the knees or the big toes, wherever that works for your neck. Stay here for one more round of breath. Now let's start walking the hands back to the feet. Walk the hands back to the feet. Keep those feet hip width, and then get a nice bend in your knees. We're coming into ragdoll, a forward fold. A passive forward fold here. So the knees are bent really nicely. The chest can even be resting on the thighs. Relax the head. You can grab opposite elbows and sway from side to side if you like. You can relax the arms down to your mat. I want you to keep lifting those hips up high. I want you to keep actively releasing stress from the shoulders. You're not holding a baby right now, so let's let that tension go from the shoulders, from the upper back. Giving space here into our lower back, and getting some much needed length along our hamstrings as we work to recover from our pregnancy journey. And now we'll start finding our way up into a tall mountain. Take your time to get there. Don't worry, we'll build up pace in due time. Roll the shoulders back, reach the arms up overhead. Take a big breath in, open mouth, exhale, hands to heart. Tall mountain, inhale, stretch it up. Forward fold, exhale, bring those hands back down towards your toes. Legs a little bit more straight than they were last time. From here, come into a halfway lift. Bring your hands up onto your shins for your first halfway lift. Working to get the spine parallel with the ground beneath you. Roll the shoulders away from your ears. Press the backs of the legs against the back of your room. Take one more breath in. As you exhale, walk back into your down dog. So coming back with hands at shoulder width, chest pushing back to thighs, hips lifting up high, heels melting down towards the mat. They don't have to touch, but you feel that energy of the heels lengthening down into the mat. This time, let's step forward into that halfway lift position. So a long spine and a flat back. Fingertips either on the mat or hands back on those shins. Breathe in and forward fold on the exhale. Tall mountain, inhale, roll it up, reach up high, look up, hands to heart space, open mouth. Tall mountain, inhale, stretch it up. Forward fold, exhale, flow those hands down to your toes. Halfway lift, lengthen the spine, flatten the back. This time, bring the hands down to the mat, flatten them down, step back into a high plank. Stay here. Scoop the pelvis up to the lower ribs. Press the shoulder blades out from one another. Now you can stay here, or you can bring the knees down and the heels up. But I want you to keep that pelvis scooping up to your lower ribs. I want you to create full body activation here from the top of your head all the way out through the heels of your feet. Stay with me for one more round of breath. Breathe in, and then slightly come forward. Bend the elbows and start to lower all the way down to the mat. Low plank, all the way down. Baby cobra, just lift the head up and the tops of the shoulders. Roll those shoulder caps back. Try and kiss the shoulder blades together behind you. And now let's go back into our down dog position. Tuck the toes, push back towards the knees, then lift those hips up high. So let's do that once more. One more sun salutation A. Step forward into your halfway lift. Breathe in, forward fold, and breathe out. Tall mountain, inhale, roll up, reach up. Hands to heart space, open mouth. Tall mountain, inhale, reach up. Forward fold, exhale, flow down. Halfway lift, find length. Hands come down, feet step back. Take a breath in your high plank. Bring the knees down, low plank. Slightly come forward, then lower all the way down once more. You can find baby cobra, or you can find full cobra, lifting more of the chest up. Lift the sternum up to the sky, maybe slightly look up. And then down dog. Push back towards the knees, tuck the toes, lift those hips up high. Find one more round of breath here. All right, now we're gonna progress into our sun salutation B. So continuing our warm up here. Again, starting in your down dog, we're gonna step forward into that halfway lift. And then forward fold, breathing out. Keep the feet hip width and now find chair pose, Utkatasana. So you can sweep the floor with your fingertips so that you know that you're sitting nice and deep into the squat, as deep as is comfortable for you. I want you to lengthen that lower back down to the mat. Open up the chest to the front of your room. You can have hands, arms reaching up to the sky, or you can have hands down at your heart space, wherever your energy is. Stay here with me for one more round of breath. Breathe in, and then forward fold and breathe out. Now I want you to grab a block. Place that block between your knees, running up towards your thighs. You're gonna have the block narrow. So now we're gonna do another chair pose while squeezing onto that block, and I want you to feel the difference here. So again, keeping feet hip width. Sweep the floor with the fingertips, finding that Utkatasana chair pose, squeezing onto the block. Lengthening that energy up through the body. So feel how the energy is weaving into the body, and then you're going to use that and lift that energy up. So weaving energy in and up. Now relax the shoulders down. Put the weight into the heels. See if you can sit a little bit deeper into this chair pose. Find one more round of breath, powerfully squeezing onto that block. Breathe in, forward fold, breathe out, remove the block from your chair pose. One more chair pose without the block, but I want you to still feel that sensation of the block being between the knees. Sweep the floor with the fingertips. Inhale, rise the arms up or bring hands to heart space. Now feel as if that block is still between your knees, squeezing onto that imaginary block. Feel that pelvic floor lifting up. Feel that energy weaving in and up through the body. Stay here with me for one more round of breath. Breathe in, forward fold, breathe out. Nice work. Halfway lift. Fingertips are on the mat. We're gonna step the left leg back now. Come into a low lunge. Big step back with that left foot. Bring the left knee down to the mat. Inhale, reach the arms up to the sky. You might need to widen your stance a little bit. We're gonna let the hips sink down low, but we're gonna keep the right knee over the right wrist. And again, you could have arms up, framing your face. You could have hands at heart space, or for a bit more stability, you could even have hands onto your hips. So I'll let you decide what's best for you in your practice today. I want you to stay here with me for one more inhale. Exhale, let's open up space into the chest, finding a crescent moon. So open up through the elbows, finding cactus arms. Scoop that pelvis up just slightly as you push the hips forward. Lift up through the sternum and look up. So we're counterposing all of that baby feeding, that baby holding here, as we open up space into the chest. And we'll come back through a low lunge position here. Inhale, stretch the arms up. Come back to have hands over shoulders, over hips here. Breathe in for one more breath in. Exhale, bring hands down to frame that right foot. Tuck the back toes if they're not already. Take a big step up into your halfway lift. And step the right leg back into that low lunge on the breath out. So right foot steps back, right knee goes down. Inhale, arms up, or hands to heart space, or hands onto your hips. I want you to push that right hip forward. Hug that left hip back and in, allowing the hips still to sink down a bit here. But I want you to feel action. So that left foot and that back knee trying to hug towards one another, creating that energy in this pose. Stay for one more breath in, and then exhale, crescent moon, open up through the elbows, scoop the pelvis up as you push the hips forward. Get that space all up in that chest. Open up through the diaphragm, through the lungs, through the heart. Stay here with me for another round of breath. On the inhale, come back through your low lunge with hands over shoulders, over hips. Breathe in. Exhale, hands down to frame that left foot. This time, step the left foot back, come into your high plank. Knees come down, low plank. Come all the way down to the mat. Baby cobra or cobra, whatever works for you, but I want you to roll those shoulders back. And then down dog, push back towards the knees, lift those hips high. So we're gonna do one more sun salutation B. Step forward into that halfway lift, breathe in, forward fold, breathe out. We've got 3 chair poses. Inhale, chair pose, arms up, hips down, weight onto the heels, smiling collarbones to the front, breathe in, forward fold, breathe out. 2 more. Inhale, chair pose, nice big squat here. Lengthen down through the lower back, scoop the pelvis up to the lower ribs, relax shoulders. Take an inhale, forward fold, exhale. Last one, chair pose, breath in, sit on the breath out even deeper. Relax the shoulders. Stay with me for one more inhale, forward fold, exhale. Nice work, mama. Halfway lift. Step the left leg back, coming into that low lunge. So a big step back, left knee comes down. Inhale, arms up or into any of those other positions that works for you. Again, feel that right heel hugging back to that left knee, those hips squaring off. Feel the energy weaving in and rising up. Stay with me for one more breath in. On the exhale, crescent moon. Get that space in the chest. On the breath in, come back through your low lunge shape. On the exhale, bring hands down, tuck the back toes. Big step up with that left leg, halfway lift. Exhale, right leg goes back. Right knee comes down. Low lunge with the breath in, lifting chest and arms up, squaring off. Energy weaving in, energy rising up. Stay for one more inhale. Exhale, crescent moon. Get that space. Inhale, rise the arms up. Exhale, hands down to frame the left foot. Take a big step back, high plank on the breath in, knees down, low plank with the breath out. Baby cobra or cobra on the inhale, down dog on the exhale. Stay in your down dog for one round of breath. And then child's pose. Bring the knees down, bring the hips down onto the heels, and lengthen the arms out in front of you. Another option for your child's pose is knees together and arms down beside you. We're using our child's pose to come back into our intention to just simply breathe. Once we practice connecting into the breath, then we start using our yoga off of the mat, connecting into our breath in those stressful, heated moments of motherhood, of womanhood. We stop and listen in to the breath, and then we start to move forward with a clear and open mind. All right. Let's sit up and come back into a down dog. So I always like to use tabletop to set it for a down dog, because then I know my hands are about the correct distance away from my feet. So shoulders over wrist, hips over knees, toes tuck, hips up high, down dog. All right, so we're gonna build on to what we know for a bit of a flow. And then we're gonna Cool down and stretch out. So from here, let's step forward into that halfway lift. Breathing in, forward fold, breathing out. Utkatasana chair pose. Let's find 2 rounds of breath in your powerful lightning bolt stance. Bringing energy into the body. For one more inhale, exhale, Uttasana, forward fold. Halfway lift. Step the left leg back into that low lunge shape. Left knee comes down. Inhale, chest up, arms up. Push that left hip forward, hug that right hip back. Relax the shoulders down. Breathe in. Exhale, crescent moon. You know this shape. Inhale, low lunge. You know this shape. Bring the hands down with your breath out, half splits. Maybe grabbing blocks or your books underneath either hand. We're going to straighten out the front leg. Leave the hips over that left knee. Flex the right toes. I want you to come into what is like a halfway lift position with the back, meaning the chest is open, the spine is long, and the upper back is flat. So shoulders moving away from your ears here. That's why I suggest blocks coming underneath either hand. That way you have that long spine here, allowing you to get some nice length through that hamstring. Stay here with me for one more round of breath. And then we'll come back into your low lunge. So stamp that right foot back down and inhale the arms up. Stay here with me for one more inhale. Exhale, hands down to frame that right foot. We'll come into a revolved twist. So we'll leave the left hand down. Maybe a block comes underneath that left hand. And inhale the right arm up. So we're coming into a twist, opening the chest to the right side of your room and trying to get that right hand directly over that left wrist. So creating one giant arm here. And then once you lengthen forward to the front of your room through the top of your head, shoulders relax away from ears, right hip stays hugging in. Stay here with me for one more inhale. Breathe in. Exhale that right hand down. Remove the block from the mat if you brought it there. Tuck the back toes, lift that pelvic floor up, and then on the breath in, high lunge, lift that left knee up off of the mat, deepen into the lunge. Stay here with me for one more breath in. Exhale, hands down through heart space, coming into a twisted crescent lunge. So we're gonna lengthen forward on the breath in, twist to the right on the breath out, hooking that left elbow to the outside of the right knee. Push the hands down into heart space. Keep the chest open here as you deeply twist through the abdomen. So when we twist, we tone the organs and we help that uterus come back into its intended shape and its intended place in the body. So stay here with me for one more round of breath. And then come back into your high lunge position. So come back through center, reach the arms up. Take a big breath in. Exhale the hands down to frame the right foot. Now step that right foot back. Let's go through vinyasa. So high to low plank. Bring the knees down for your low plank. Cobra or baby cobra on the breath in, rolling those shoulders back. Down dog with the breath out. Let's take 3 rounds of breath here. All right, we'll bring this all onto the left side. Stepping forward into that halfway lift. Take a lengthening inhale. Forward fold, take a relaxing exhale. Chair pose, 2 rounds of breath. Deepest chair pose of your practice today. Breathe in and forward fold, release on the exhale. Halfway lift. We're gonna step the right leg back this time into your low lunge. So the left foot is forward, the right knee comes down. Inhale, arms up. Push the right hip forward, hug the left hip back and in. Lengthen up energy through the fingertips. Feel that core strong. Feel the shoulders relaxed. Stay for the inhale. Crescent moon on the exhale, creating that beautiful space into the chest. Inhale, reach those arms up. Half splits on the exhale, maybe grabbing your blocks, placing them underneath either hand, that's framing that left leg. And then sitting back just a little bit, but keeping those hips high above the right knee, flexing left toes. You want to feel like the left toes are going to come back and touch your forehead. So think about creating length all through the back side of the body here. So from that left heel, all the way up the left hamstring, all the way up and over the spine, down the back of your neck. Stay for one more breath in. And then exhale, begin to stamp that left foot down onto the mat and lift those arms back up into your low lunge. Stay for one more inhale. Exhale the hands down to frame that left foot. Maybe grab a block underneath the right hand, coming into a revolved lunge. So we're gonna lengthen forward on the inhale, then twist to the left, reaching that left arm up. Keep hugging that left hip in. Keep lengthening forward and feel those shoulder blades trying to kiss. That creates that space in your chest here. So not only are we toning our organs when we twist, we're creating space in the chest. So two things that we desperately need in our postnatal state. Toning of our organs and more space in our chest. Coming back from our pregnant self, coming into the shape of motherhood, and finding these beautiful poses when we need them. Stay for one more inhale. Exhale that left hand down. All right, we're gonna really tune into some strength here. Turn on some strength on the breath in. Tuck those back toes, lift up into your high lunge. A bit of a harder transition, but you've got this. You're lifted up high now. You've got that right hip pushing forward, that left knee hugging back and in. Let's deepen into this powerful lunge for one more round of breath. Breathe in. Exhale, hands down. Step that left foot back. Take a breath in your high plank. Now bring the knees down. Low plank, slightly come forward. Hug elbows into the body as you lower. Baby cobra, lift up. Down dog, push it back. Lift hips up high. Take a round of breath. Child's pose. Come on down to your mat. Find your preferred version of child's pose. Releasing yourself from any expectation. Releasing yourself from anything that you think you should be doing, that you should be feeling. And instead, just listen in to your breath. Feel into your breath. Feel the belly pressing against the thighs as you inhale. Feel the hips settling deeper onto the heels as you exhale. That beginning of your connection back into yourself by simply breathing. All right, we're going to bring the hands underneath the shoulders and come back up into a seat. We're going to do just a little bit of core activation, and then we're going to do some nice restorative stretches. So we're going to come onto your back, grab your block or your book, and just lie flat onto your back. So we're gonna come into a bridge position to begin. So your feet are flat onto the mat, hip width. Grab your block, place the block between your knees, and you're gonna have the block running down towards your thighs. So the block is on its narrow setting. All right, so we're gonna start with just some pelvis tilts, and then we're gonna work into some hip lifts. So if you've done Pilates before, you're probably familiar with this exercise. So we're going to take a breath in, and then as you exhale, I want you to scoop that pelvis up, feeling that lower back round out and flatten onto the mat. And then inhale, rock the pelvis back up. Exhale, rock the pelvis down as you scoop the front of the pelvis up to the lower ribs. And then inhale, rock the pelvis back. Exhale, rock the pelvis up to the front of the ribs. Inhale, relax. So when you're scooping that pelvis up, when you're rocking up, you're lifting that pelvic floor up. So let's make sure that we're doing that for 3 more rounds. Inhale, exhale, lift pelvic floor, scoop pelvis up. Rock that pelvis back. Exhale, lift pelvic floor up, scoop pelvis up, and relax. Once more, and relax. So now we're gonna add hip lifts into that. So we're gonna exhale, same thing, lift pelvic floor and lift pelvis up towards the lower ribs. And then we're gonna lift those hips up high and then come back down and do that all over again. So we're gonna do 10 hip lifts, but make sure that you're getting that pelvic floor activation before you lift the hips up so that we're really weaving the body back together properly. That's why you came onto the mat with me. All right, so let's inhale. Exhale, scoop that pelvis up to your lower ribs. Now lift the hips up on the breath in. Exhale, come back down. Inhale, relax. Exhale, scoop pelvis up to lower ribs. Squeeze onto the block as you lift up and come back down. We've got 8 more. Scoop pelvis up, lift hips up, come back down, relax. Scoop pelvis up, squeeze onto block, lift hips up and down. We've got 6 more. For 5. For 4. Really squeezing onto that block. For 3. For 2. Last one. And relax back down onto the mat. Release that block between the knees and let's find some windshield wiper knees. So widen the feet as wide as your mat and then drop one knee at a time as you swish the knees back and forth. And then we'll grab that block or that book and now come into a supported bridge, placing the block underneath the back of your pelvis. Just at its lowest height is great. So we'll kind of walk the shoulder blades in towards one another just a little bit. We'll let the chin rest down towards the chest and we'll flatten that lower back down onto the block just a little bit here. So we're really cooling the breath down now. You've done some excellent work today on your mat, no matter how many times you've stopped and you've started, no matter if you've been able to stay focused on your mat throughout this entire session. Go ahead and give yourself a little mental high five here, making it to the mat, making it happen, making time for yourself. It's so important. So in our supported bridge, it's a great pose to nourish that pelvis. So as we work to bring the body back into alignment, it's nice to allow the props to kind of assist in that process. So allow the props to do a lot of the work for you here in your postnatal classes. So here we're letting that pelvis just kind of melt over the block, getting space where it needs, getting alignment where it needs, all while just relaxing and letting the block do the work for you. Let's take 2 more rounds of breath. And we're just going to slightly push the floor away with the feet so you lift the hips up just a bit, just enough to remove the block. Hug the knees into your chest now. Let's give that lower back a bit of a massage, rolling from side to side, finding little circles all around the sacrum. And then we'll come into an easy supine twist. So we're going to hug the knees in toward your chest and then release that left leg, keeping the right knee hugging in. Give it a really good squeeze against the right side of your belly, the right side of your chest. And now let's hug that right leg across your body and extend the right arm out. So keep a hold onto that right knee with your left hand and keep the right shoulder down onto the mat. So it doesn't matter if this right knee comes down to the floor or not. What matters is that you've got the right shoulder down, the right arm out, and that right leg hugging across the body. So we're getting a nice length along the ITB, the outside of your right leg, getting some nice space back into your lower back. And by doing that, you're releasing tension from the glutes, from the piriformis, areas that can really take a beating, if you will, from our pregnancy and from holding babies on our hips. It's a really nice restorative posture here to give back into an area of the body that's really needing it. And we'll come back onto your backs. Hug both knees into your chest. Scoop that pelvis up a little bit just so the hips become level once more. Keep hugging onto the left knee as you extend that right leg out, recreating supine twist on the left side. So left knee hugs into the chest, hugs against the belly. Left arm goes out, left leg goes across the body. Remember to keep the left shoulder down. Then if you like, you could always place a block or two underneath that left knee. If you don't like having a floating knee and you want to have some support there, place a pillow there, place a block there. Give yourself that support. You can go ahead and start shutting the eyes down now as we start to work towards our Shavasana, towards the end of our practice. And we'll come back onto your backs. Hug the knees into your chest. Give yourself a big hug, maybe a kiss on each of the knees. You're showing up for making time for yourself. And then we're going to come into a Shavasana. So for your Shavasana today, I recommend waterfall. So waterfall with legs up the wall. So if you've got a wall handy, go ahead and come to the side. Come to that wall. And to set up, the best way to do this is to come at the wall perpendicular with the hips, and then you're going to swing the legs up the wall and lie flat onto your back, like so. Now, if you like, you can slide a bolster or a pillow underneath your hips. Otherwise, you can just simply enjoy legs supported from the wall, legs up, arms down on either side of you. Relax shoulders away from your ears. And let's take 3 big rounds of breath here. Breathing in, pulling as much air as you can. Open mouth, heavy sigh. Twice more. Let it all go. Last time. Expand the belly, expand the chest, pull the breath all the way up into the head, and then slowly release that breath all the way out. And then really start to melt and relax into the shape of waterfall. Let the belly soften. Let the eyes soften. Noticing the sounds around you. Noticing the sound of your breath. And then starting to relax the ears away from those sounds. Letting them become distant white noise. Letting this nurturing cocoon hold you in this shape. As you start to feel the entire body relax. As you feel the breath become light and easy. And as you notice the thoughts of the mind start to just float away. back into a state of awareness. Hearing and feeling the breath. And noticing those gentle thoughts of your mind. And as you're ready, when you're ready, roll the legs off the wall to either side that works for you, coming into that fetal position, closing. Letting the eyes be heavy or even closed as you make your way into this comfortable seat. And once you get there, sit up tall, bring the hands to heart space. And we'll leave our hands at heart space to signify compassion. Compassion that starts with ourselves and is then able to extend out to our little ones and those around us. Namaste, mamas. Thank you for joining me on your mat for your very first Mama Baby Yoga class. I look forward to seeing you again in week 2. Bye for now.